Well, good morning everybody. This is Dear Mama Sal on a very wet Monday morning. It is 2 degrees in British Columbia, which would make it 35 in America. A little bit discombobulated this morning because I can't find my glasses. These are a backup pair that are probably 20 years old. But luckily my eyes haven't changed very much in those years. But somewhere in my house are my glasses, and I don't know if any of you relate to this, but I need to be wearing my glasses to find them. So I looked everywhere. And I looked in all the obvious places and then the not so obvious places, and including the top of my head, which is where I quite often end up finding them. But again, it's been a few days since I've driven my car, so therefore that's the only reason I really need them. They're normally stored on top of my computer in my bedroom, on top of my laptop, you know, just on top of the keys there. So I know exactly where to find them. So when they're not there, it's like, no. Never mind. Let me be grateful for the fact that I have a spare set. In fact, I have 2 spares. I don't throw my old glasses away for that very reason. You never know when you're going to need even a set that's a little bit older, just so that you can drive. Now, quite honestly, between the thousands of you that might be watching and myself, one wonders whether my eyesight with these glasses is better or worse than without them, but owing to the fact that my driving license says I must be wearing glasses, I've got to wear them. Think about the logic of that one. So I'm doing that. And it's quite funny because these are bifocals, so I will either appreciate them today or I won't. I'll let you know. Alright, weekend update. What a great weekend. A long weekend, a second one in a row. I mean, I know that I have long weekends every weekend because I don't work Fridays, but there have been 2 4-day weekends in a row, which really has helped a great deal. And I feel a lot more rested, although I was not keen to jump out of bed this morning at 6:30, so I didn't jump out of bed until 7:30, which would have been fine if I hadn't lost my glasses. But a really nice weekend, starting with New Year's Eve, and I do have some pictures of New Year's Eve that I haven't put up yet, which was great fun and thoroughly enjoyed it. I didn't get home until 2 o'clock in the morning, which at my age is, you know, really quite funny. It was really nice. As some of you know, I thought I was going to be sitting around in my jammies all day Friday. and then Benji arrived with my beautiful present. So that was really quite a funny day. We ended up doing our Christmas dinner on Saturday. Now the reason we do that is because over the years that we found out that everybody has commitments over Christmas, right? And what we discovered is, what if we let go of our ego and our need to do Christmas on Christmas Day? You know, what if you let go of that? And what I asked everybody is, what is the nearest day after Christmas where you think you'd be under control enough to want to have Christmas at my house? Which is a totally different concept. And everybody seemed to think that January 3rd would work. So I said, okay. So Dougie came and we had a wonderful, wonderful evening. I was going to do the barbecue, the turkey and the barbecue, but it was too big. That was a learning moment. So I ended up doing it in my beautiful oven. I think it's the first time I've used the lower part of my oven properly since I've had it. I have a double oven, and I normally use the bottom part, if I do use it, as a warming oven rather than, you know, giant size warming oven. rather than to actually cook in. So I had this incredibly large turkey. Well, it wasn't overly large, it was only 12.5 pounds, but I had this turkey going, and that convection oven cooked that turkey at 325, I think it was. It cooked it in 11, 12, 1, 2, 3. In about 4 hours. It was quite scary how quickly it cooked it. Now, I bought a gizmo. You know, those of you who know me know I love my gizmos. I bought a gizmo that was specially made for poultry. And, you know, you basically pull its legs down. It's in the shape of it. Whoa, we've got major water here. Close to flood stage. Okay, that was scary to watch the water in the river there. Let me see the next one, see how that's doing. Anyway, so you sort of pull the legs down on, it's shaped like a turkey, and you just pull the legs down, and then you stick it in the fattest part of the turkey, which apparently, I found out online, is the white meat down by the leg, is the thickest part of the turkey. So you stick your thermometer there, which I did, and then when it's cooked, the legs will jump up. And you go, yeah, I hope I didn't waste $10 on this thing. And I didn't. The legs popped up, and then just because I'm not a brave person, I also had a regular oven thermometer in the turkey as well. And it was interesting because the regular oven thermometer did not say that the turkey was done. But the pop-up legs said that it was. So what I did was I turned the oven down to just 100 to keep the oven warm. And then I, in the last half hour, put a lattice of bacon over the top of the turkey and just warmed it right up in the last half hour. Oh my gosh, it was good. It was juicy, it was tasty, and I had done nothing. You know, I'd love to tell you that I, you know, injected it with 65 different things or whatever. Didn't do any of those. It wasn't a butter ball, it was just a regular run-of-the-mill turkey. And, oh, it was good. So I'm not quite sure what I did right, but I definitely would cook one again, let's put it that way. And then afterwards we had a killer game of Scrabble. Now, I haven't played that a lot recently. I used to love the game, but we had a lot of fun. Mind you, we had quite a lot of booze going at the same time, which makes it more fun, I guess. Well, the guys were drinking, Yvonne and I were busy having coffee, but it doesn't really matter. So, the one thing I wanted to give you some feedback on, though, is you remember the story I was telling at the end of last week about the incredible lady whose best... That was not a stone, that was heavy water that came up. Very heavy water by the sound of it. Anyway, from the car that was to my right. Anyway, the woman whose friend, you know, dropped her like hotcakes and then came back 10 years later. Now, I had a really interesting email or note come in on a private message somewhere from a lady who told the other side of that story. Now, it wasn't the same couple, just so you know. But she said that she had, in her time, dropped a friend. Now, I had quite a few people who admitted to being, if I can call them this, the droppee. You know, they had dropped friends like hotcakes, and for whatever reason, and everybody's got a reason. Anyway, but this woman who wrote to us, she said that her issue was she didn't know how to start re-establishing the communication. She was terrified that this person would reject her or be really, really angry with her. Well, both are very likely. I mean, you've got to look at it and go, what are the chances of that happening? Pretty good. What are the chances of that person ever really trusting you again? Pretty slim. But isn't life like that? And so my question to you, and I guess my word for the day is, sorry, I got a real itchy nose this morning. My question of the day is, if we only do things that are easy, what will we achieve? So if you want to get in touch with this friend of yours, you know, what you do is you say to yourself, even if she rejects me, even if she screams and shouts at me, I want to tell her that I'm sorry. All right, and I want to be in touch, and tell her that. And tell her that if she can ever forgive me, that I'd like to start this relationship again, knowing, as you will, that she won't necessarily be very, I want to say effusive, what's the word? Very keen in places, right? She's probably going to be a little hesitant. Quite normal. Quite normal human behavior. And very intelligent human behavior, if you don't mind my saying so. You know, I certainly would not go rushing back into a relationship where somebody had done that to me without being a little hesitant. So, but to not do it because of fear that somebody will be angry with you would also not achieve your purpose. Now you've got two things going against you. Because now you've obviously got it on your mind that you ought to do this, and you're not doing it, so there's some level of guilt probably going on. And on the other side, you've got the situation where you're scared to do it because you might have a problem. Now, what you've got is torture, in my book, because you've got this whole issue now totally absorbing your life. And either way, you lose, because you're not doing anything. Things don't get fixed by not doing anything. Things get fixed when you do something about them. It's called being proactive. It means that you're not sitting around waiting for the world to do things to you. You're busy making sure things don't happen. So my advice to the young lady who wrote to me, I think it was a young lady, is, you know, take a deep breath, make the call. Or if you are too scared, and I would understand that, if you're too scared to make the call, write an email. And in the email, make sure you keep it in the first person. In other words, say, I did this, and I would like to apologize for it. Don't start saying, well, I did this because you did this, and this, and try and justify it. Don't do that. One of the biggest mistakes we make when we communicate with other people is we try and lay off some of the blame on the other person, and that gets the whole situation inflamed, because the other person naturally will react to that. So what you do is you just state the facts. I just wanted to write to you and say how sorry I am that I did this to you 5 years ago. This was my reason. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense today, but at the time it did. And because it doesn't make a whole lot of sense today, if that is true for you, I'd like to write and apologize. And if you can find it in your heart to even talk to me again, I would appreciate it. But if you can't, I would totally understand. And one thing I would recommend on something like this is less is more. You know, don't go writing 22 pages of email. Less is more. But make it sincere, and make it that you are offering out your hand in friendship, and the ball is now totally in their court. And by the way, then let them respond. Now, if they haven't responded in a month, you're probably pretty sure that they got the email. And if they have chosen not to respond, you got the message. Now, a lot of us won't be able to handle that. We'll get very angry and go, oh, why, you know, I bothered to do this and they didn't bother to respond. Well, that's their right. And some of you will desperately want to write 22 other emails to back it up. If you must, write one more and just say, you know, I'm not sure if you got my email, but this is what, you know, and just copy and paste it back in. And then you know you've done it twice. If they ignore you twice, leave it alone. They don't want you back in their life. Or they need time to process this and think about it. And maybe you will get a similar letter in a year that says, you know, a year ago you tried to make amends and I ignored you and I'd like to apologize for that. In which case you can then make your decision. All right, so do these sort of things happen to us not just with friendships, but maybe even with business relationships or whatever? Yeah. So I always think that it takes a lot of courage to do something like this, but you don't mend relationships without doing it. They don't miraculously fix themselves. And quite honestly, as somebody in my life says, and some of them saying sorry, it just doesn't cut it. And I don't know how many of you have, and you might want to give me some feedback on that, how many of you feel that just saying sorry doesn't cut it? In other words, you know, that you are so angry with the situation that somebody apologizing is not going to leave you in a place where you want to forgive them. And it's going to take a lot more than that before you'll trust them again. And I think that would be true for a lot of people. So, on this very cold, wet day with the wrong glasses on, which apparently are working quite well because I managed to get to work. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I hope that you think about the relationships you might have messed up in your life, in which case we join the rest of us. We've all done it, I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe there are perfect people out there that have never messed up a relationship. Or you might be the messer. I'm not sure which is the messer and which is the messy. Anyway, I'm hoping that you have been, if you have been the messer, that you have tried, and if you have been the messy, that you have tried to forgive. I'm certain you've all got your horror stories. And so I just wanted to make sure that we get a couple of people who admit to them, so that this person who wrote to me won't feel she's the only person, or she or he, I think it was a she, isn't the only person who messed up big time. And if you manage to reconnect with the person that you did that to, you might want to let her know what you did, if it's different from what I'm talking about. All right, everybody, have a wonderful day. This is Dear Mama Sal, hoping that you are making a difference in your life, and that anything that you learn that you think could help somebody else, that you pass it on. I think our job in life is to be the middleman, if you like. It's not to get knowledge and keep it, it's to share it, so that other people's lives are made easier and happier and more productive. So, have a wonderful day. Whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, you get to make a difference starting right now. This is dear Mama Sal saying bye-bye for now.